So how do you become, okay, so how do you become into that kind of, like, obviously with other things, people get into movies, TV shows, comics, manga, all that stuff. How do you get into math as like a thing that you love?
I've always liked math.
Okay.
I've always had that logical kind of mind. I like puzzles and that kind of a thing. And so I actually enjoyed it in high school.
Well, math are
and then
constants.
I pursued it.
Yeah, math are constants. There's not a lot of subjectivity with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So unless you're getting into obviously more theoretical stuff, but for the basic principles are set.
Yeah, yeah. It's when you get to advanced math, then you're like, okay, things are not making sense, and that's a little wild, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Well, is that something that you actually had like formal study, or when you like, did you go to college? Did you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've got a couple degrees in university and everything, and
okay, great.
And here I am doing this instead. So how about that?
Well, you know what though, you're probably making more than what a university degree, mathematician might make.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know how many jobs there are out there for them, but I mean, where do you go with that? Do you go to, say, think tanks, or maybe go to like engineering companies, or do you just go into teaching and that's pretty much your
No,
best
there's
bet?
a lot of actually people complain that econ and math professors are paid more than other professors, and that's because they are in high demand.
Really?
Because a lot of companies can use them, especially if you're looking at like game theory and people's behavior and things like that, right? It's you want to set up like a gain share program or whatever where you can incentivize your employees to do certain tasks, work harder, and then they get paid back, for
Okay.
putting extra in. Setting up programs like that it's a big thing that you can do with like game theory.
Okay. Well, and all right. So not to try to hopefully, give too many headaches, but to quote Michael Scott, explain this to me like I'm 5 in terms of if you can pare down game theory to just a couple of, if there's a simplistic way of describing it, what would it be?
Oh, okay. See, now I feel like I'm put on the spot. Hopefully I get this right. It's just understanding it's like psychology, but with actual math and everything behind it. So it's understanding human behavior and how they make decisions.
So is that similar?
But it's far more rigorous.
So is it kind of like when Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park is talking about chaos theory, and he's trying to describe it in that sense? Because he's a mathematician in the film, I think, or he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know if chaos theory or if that in itself, I don't know if that was created for the film by his character to explain the events of the film, or if that actually has
chaos
a root.
theory is an actual thing. Actually, that was part of it. I remember reading that book in high school, and I thought that was just really cool. And there's like all the fractal patterns in between all the different major chapters or whatever, right? And it's just slowly spiraling into like chaos and stuff. And I'm like, I actually wanted to read more about it afterwards.
Well, it's funny because I think Ian Malcolm ended up, even though he's not the main character of the story, he ended up being the breakout character in the book, because I think originally his character was supposed to die in the book, and I guess they liked him so much, or I think he does die, and then they brought him back for Lost World in the book, to kind of, because I guess he was so well liked. And I don't know if that was coupled with this, say, Jeff Goldblum's performance in the film, because obviously
he killed it.
Yeah,
he killed it. Yeah,
he is the. I mean, and I love Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Richard Attenborough. And the whole cast in the movie's great, but Ian Malcolm, plus he's got that open shirt section where he turned into the sexy whole
iconic meme at this point. Right?
The sexy scientist Jeff Goldblum meme, essentially.
Yeah.
Where well, and what's cool is so are you just general math, or do you have other interest in other sciences?
Yeah, mostly with math and econ there, I think.
Okay. So, because I was just going to say, it's interesting. I don't know if you saw the movie Oppenheimer that came out with Cillian Murphy. You didn't?
I haven't, but I really want to. It looks really good.
Well, so what I was going to say, it's a fantastic film, and it's a brilliant, basically, I want to say, I don't want to call it an expose, but it's brilliantly told in terms of how it focuses on Oppenheimer. But what I found really, really cool outside of just the film was the fact that it is now the highest grossing, biopic of all time.
Yeah.
And what I found really cool was because it's about a scientist. It's not about, it's not about an entertainer. It's not about a singer. It's not about a politician, which you'd think those would be what would be bigger grossing films, but it's about a scientist. So I thought, granted, I think a lot of that has to do with the way that Christopher Nolan made the film because he made it so uniquely and beautifully.
Oh, he's so good. He is really talented the way I don't know. I still like when we're talking superhero films and things like that, right? Like I hold up his Batman trilogy is just like, it's hard to compare with that. Like I like the way he shoots everything, the way he uses music and he creates tension and all that.
Here's
anything he's in.
He's very cinematic because here's the thing. He's very cinematic. Like he does not he wants his movies in cinemas. He doesn't want them to be seen on Netflix or at home on small screens. He wants you to go to the theater because he feels like that's where movies are supposed to be watched. So that's why I think he makes his films in as grand of a way as possible. And I think that's why, for instance, even though the Dark Knight films don't say on a scale compared to like Marvel films aren't as big in terms of what's happening, I feel like they look bigger because of the way he shot them. And the way
he shot them for IMAX and everything too, right?
Yeah, starting with The Dark Knight is when he started using IMAX cameras. And then gradually he's used IMAX more and more throughout his films until now Oppenheimer he shot completely in IMAX, including the black and white sequences, which didn't exist. Like
That's crazy.
You couldn't shoot black and white IMAX footage. So he had to create, I think, either the film stock or he had to have Kodak or whoever made the film stock create it to do it, which was amazing.
That is impressive.